Zach, are you crazy?
Welcome, everybody, to the Magnetico podcast. I am your host, Jason. I am riding solo today. Cold is getting over, not feeling great. Got a basketball game tonight, so I'm coming at you alone, but we got a lot to get into. We got the NFL. I want to touch on Pete Alonso and the Mets, what the Mets are doing in this offseason. NFL, we got the Final Four, so a lot to get into. So we're going to start right here with the national title. 28-14, Ohio. Ohio State, I hate them, but they peaked at the right time. They did what they needed to do. And what I got to say is going to be a lot of stuff about these playoffs. You know, did it work? Is it the right formula? They're looking to make some tweaks, maybe a playing game, how they're going to do it moving forward. But it's the right direction because every game matters in college football more than any other sport, it seems. But at least, you know, Ohio State had a tough loss to Michigan. Their rival. It's a rival game. Didn't look good in that game. And then they end up winning the national title because they go on a run in the playoffs and take care of business. So hats off to them. They peaked at the right time. They were number 8 going into the playoff run, and they come out with the victory. It was a close game up until the fourth quarter. And the one thing about it, though, it was very – I don't know if it's just me because I'm not on social media as much anymore, but it wasn't a lot of hype to the game. It just didn't seem – you got Ohio State playing Texas. It just didn't seem like there was a lot of hype. I know their fan bases were hyped for it, but anyway, it was a good game. I like what college football is doing. They got a lot to work out with the NIL stuff and the playoffs and how they're going to seed, you know, moving forward with it. But overall, it was a great college football season. The parity is there now. That's the one good thing with the NIL. So I'm looking forward to next year. They got my Gators at over under at 6.5 games next year. Now, I would have took the under going into the last season, and they hit the over. They're gonna be better next year. So 6.5 seems. I know they're gonna have another tough schedule, but I kind of like the 6.5. I could promise you this: it's either gonna be the over or Billy Napier's fired. Because coming out in the last couple of days, Billy Napier has said he is not hiring an offensive coordinator, which he did say he was going to do when the AD gave him kind of "you're our guy" speech, but apparently he's come out saying he's not hiring an OC, and maybe some of that has to do with Lagway. I don't think Billy calls a bad game, especially because a lot of times you got to have a quarterback. If you don't have a quarterback, you look like a horrible play caller. So with DJ there, Billy's got the potential to be okay, but then it comes down to the game management, and I don't think he's the greatest coach when it comes to that, but Billy's riding on himself. And you know what? I respect it. I was hard on Billy Napier, as a lot of people were, but that team's sticking with him. I've said it before. That team's sticking with him, and he's riding it out. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go down my way, and he feels like he's got the quarterback in place. He's got, you know, some threats, some ballers on offense coming back, some great defensive players coming back. 6.5 is low. They're not, you know, I saw one analyst say he predicts that the Gators are going to win the national championship in the next couple of years. And that's because of DJ Lagway. So Billy's riding with DJ. He's looking at it like, I'm not going to turn this over to somebody else. And then, you know, keeping it the way it is, the terminology, everything, just he's got DJ. It'll be in the second year. So it kind of makes sense a little bit. But, you know, Gator fans are not happy right now with Billy deciding that he is going to be the play caller in 2025-26 season. So switching gears over to the NFL, we have our Final Four. Some great games, some not so great games last week. The Chiefs took care of business. We knew they would. Texans got there, but it was 23-14 Chiefs. The Chiefs set up against the Bills for this week because the Bills knocked off Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, 27-25. Josh Allen, it's his time. Lamar, he played okay. He played okay in that game. He made a couple mistakes. I think the receiver's name is Andrews that dropped the ball in the end zone. Everybody's blaming him. He should have caught the ball, but bad conditions. Ball was a little bit thrown behind him, but it is what it is. Lamar doesn't get it done again. If Lamar Jackson was in the NFC, he'd have a couple of Super Bowl appearances already. Not saying he would have a championship, but he would definitely be there. It just seems like the AFC, it's kind of like the NBA back in the day where the East dominated and the West dominated for so long. It just seems like the AFC year in and year out just has better competition of football, and that's where he's at. So I guess it's maybe he can get there next year. But the Ravens had a great season. Buffalo Bills, Seneca sent into our podcast group chat. He sent a thing about the Bills, and it was, I guess the Bills have lost to the Chiefs the last 3 times, and it's like Josh Allen sitting there, and how could a team lose 4 straight times to another team? And if you don't know, which you should, the Bills lost 3 or 4 straight I think it was 4 straight Super Bowls in a row, so that was pretty funny. But Josh Allen going up again, it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to this matchup. I'm taking the Chiefs to win the whole thing. People are hating on the Chiefs. The referees help them. Everybody, it's that whole, when you're the GOAT, which Patrick Mahomes is on his way. If he wins this one, hands down, he's the best quarterback of all time. I mean, there's never been anybody to three-peat, and they had another great season, and they didn't even look that great. When you watch them play, you're like, this ain't the same old Chiefs, but they keep getting it done. The surprising thing is on ESPN, the matchup predictor right now, Buffalo, 54.6% of the fans are going with Buffalo for this game. So I'm interested to see. It's at Arrowhead. I'm taking Kansas City all the way. The other game, we got the Eagles. Oh, the Redskins, Jaden Dan. Is it Jaden Dan? I think it's Jaden Daniels. The Redskins. This kid is something else. The greatest rookie season in NFL history. Yeah, Jaden Daniels. 31 touchdowns in the regular season. This kid, like I told Cole on the previous show, best performance I've ever seen against the Gators when he was at LSU. His senior year or junior year, whatever year it was when he left. But just unbelievable talent, taking the Commanders and leading them to the Final Four of the NFL. Look, I don't think they're going to beat the Eagles in this game. I'm definitely going to go with the Eagles, but I would not be surprised if somehow, some way, the Commanders pull this one off. But to be safe and to give you my predictions, I'm going Chiefs and Commanders in the Super Bowl. And like I've said the whole time, Chiefs to win it all. Now, beating the Lions, first of all, how is 76 points scored in an NFL playoff game? That's crazy. 45-31, the Commanders win. And I have to be honest with you, I did not watch the game live, seen highlights, but that's crazy, 76 points. If you took the over, and you definitely won on that one. But Commanders, Eagles is just too much. The Eagles are going to be too much for them. The prediction on this game, let's see what they're saying. Yeah, 36.3% are taking Washington. So Eagles are a heavy favorite in this matchup. The weather is going to be decent, 39 degrees at Lincoln Financial. So home field advantage. I got to go Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl, February 9th. And, we'll see what happens. But that's my prediction on the NFL. Want to touch on the New York Mets. You know, me and Cole talk a lot about the Mets. Huge Mets fans. If you listen back some earlier podcasts last year, me and Cole talked about last time we was on together. Pete Alonso signed Scott Boras. Scott Boras is the worst. Not the worst agent ever, but Scott Boras has cost this man a ton of money. And Pete's a homegrown guy. I'm not quite sure why they haven't signed him yet. They're playing hardball with him, but he had the opportunity to sign with the Mets, and he turned down. Listen to this. He turned down a 7-year, $158 million extension, and it's going to go down as one of the biggest fumbles of a bag in MLB history. A team reached out to him, the team he wants to be on. He wants to be a New York Met, and they offered him $158 as an extension, and he turned it down. And the last thing that I saw, Pete came back to the Mets and was offering like a 3-year, $90 million deal with a opt-out clause, and the Mets turned it down. And Scott Boras, he wants crazy money for his clients. He cost a lot of guys last year, if you remember. A lot of guys signed late into spring training, even when the season started. And, when he signed with Scott Boras, I told Cole it was coming. He's going to screw Pete some way. Pete's a great player, but he's getting older. He's definitely serviceable. He had a down year last year, 32 home runs. He's a great player, and he's got a lot more baseball in him. It makes total sense for the Mets to have him on the roster. I know they want Vladdy. They're trying to make a deal with the Blue Jays to get Vladdy to come to Queens. But what they want for Vladdy is too much. The last I saw, they wanted Mauricio. They want Vientos. Even Marte was thrown in there. And I'll be okay with Marte. I would be okay if it was Marte and Mauricio. But Mauricio is a talent. He got hurt with his ACL so he didn't play last year. I don't want to give that kid up, but there ain't no way in hell I'm giving up Vientos. Vientos hit, I think, 27 home runs last year in his first full season in the majors, playing a solid third base where he was improving defensively. There's just no way in the world I give up on Vientos, especially for a guy, Vladdy, who it would basically be a rental for a year because he hits free agency the year after. So unless he signed an extension as part of the trade, maybe you do it in that way. And, I read one article where, okay, we give up Vientos, we give up Mauricio, we still have Jet and Beatty and Acuna and a lot of young talent in the organization. But I'm sorry, I try to get Vladdy next year in free agency. Sign Pete now. Get Vladdy next year. Let Vladdy and Pete kind of, on and off DH and play first base as Pete is, dwindling down in his career. He makes a solid DH for the organization until he's done. Vladdy, Soto, Alonso, it would be killer. And then you throw in Vientos. But I guess if you get, I don't know. Everybody's so critical of what's going on in Queens right now. It's funny to me because you didn't expect the Mets to do what they did last year, and look what happened. So they're saying that we're nickel and diamond with the GM. I put my faith in the GM and our ownership because they got it done with Soto. I understand that more needs to be done, but give it a little time. Let's see what happens. Sign Pete, get the deal done. But Pete, you hurt yourself. You should have signed if you got guaranteed money on the table, 7 years, you're with your original organization. It's where you want to play. You're in the orange and blue. You come from the Gators. You're a Tampa guy. You should have signed the extension. But let's test free agency. That's what happens. Scott Boras gets in these guys' ears, and it just makes no sense to me. I'd love to sit down with Pete. Maybe he'll come on the show. We'll see what we could do. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. We need some protection for Soto, but right now it's not looking good. The Dodgers. How the hell did the Dodgers keep signing every single person and not paying them? I don't understand. There's going to have to be some kind of renegotiating and with the league and all the teams because what they're doing, I'm not mad at them. They're doing what they're allowed to do, as far as the rules right now, but it just doesn't make sense. They got the Japanese pitcher Sasaki signed with them, and they just keep getting better and better, and they're not having to pay people now. Now in the future, Dodger fans, when you guys can't afford players, I hope you enjoyed this time now. But as of right now, the Dodgers look like the front runner again going into next season. Still a lot could be done. A lot of free agents out there, but no big time guys. So the Mets are going to have to do something. They bring back Winker. Cole's excited about that, and bring him back on a 1-year deal. He's an energy guy. He pisses the other teams off. So I guess that there's something there, but it's not an exciting guy for me. Jeff McNeil, he's been kind of rumored in some trades. I'm kind of over the Jeff McNeil things. Manaea returns on a 3-year deal for $75 million. So, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to another baseball season, see if the Mets can do something. But when you sign a Soto, everybody right now was like, let's win now. You signed the man for the biggest contract ever. He's going to be a Met for years. And you got so much young talent. Don't trade the young guys away. Let Mauricio, let Beatty, let Vientos, let Acuna, let these guys play with Soto. Let Soto become the leader. But bring Pete back on a 3-year. Hell, give him a 90. Give him 100. Come on. Give Pete. He deserves it. He just made a mistake and hired the wrong guy. So looking forward to the game, the NFL games this weekend. I'm looking forward to my co-host being back next week with me, so I don't have to do this thing solo. I appreciate everybody for listening, and go Chiefs.